Have you heard the good news? Humanity started in a black woman's womb, which is to say that this body has been home to each and every single one of you. A perpetual chrysalis from which the wicked emerge pure. But the black woman is still the most unprotected, neglected, and disrespected. But isn't that like a child? To turn around and curse the tree it fell from? To be the shiny new fruit and think it's suddenly sweeter than the roots? The ones who don't fall are often picked before their time or left there to hang, call it strange fruit. Seeds are so often buried right where they are born that childbirth begins to feel like ecological death, like I am fueling someone else's ecosystem, like I have given birth to a target. Sometimes your congratulations sound like thank yous, and I'm reminded that white supremacy has perfect aim. And here is where you stop to admire my childbearing hips, to say I was made for this, to think it must be easy to give birth to black bodies and then watch them die. Guys, welcome back to another episode of TDot Hunnies. I'm your host, Stephanie Linus. And we have our next TDot Hunnie, Miss Amoya Reé. Yay, thank you for having me. No problem. Thank you for doing the interview. No. Amoya Reé is a spoken word artist. She's a mother of two, and she is married for? Since 2017. 2017. And how long have you been doing spoken word for?
Since 2010.
10 years.
2009, actually.
11 years. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's get started with our questions. Number one, how did you get started as a spoken word artist?
It was actually in high school. I was always a writer. I took a lot of creative writing classes, and I just enjoyed that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. And it was one of my creative writing teachers who put on this slam for the school, and I was the only person who wanted to participate. I had no idea what I was doing, but I did it, and I loved it, and I have not looked back since.
Very nice.
So.
Do you remember what you performed when you...
Yeah, because it was actually, it was a piece on abortion. And it was, I don't know if you know Gemini from G987.
Yeah.
So she was one of the panelists. So I was in a poetry slam against her. Can you imagine? I never did it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Worst mistake of my life. But anyways, it was amazing because she actually signed it and I framed it. So I have it at home. So I'll never forget that. It's one of the first pieces I've ever done.
Very nice. Yeah. Gemini's cool. Mark and Gem, right?
Yeah.
They're hilarious.
Yeah. Later in life, I was able to actually build a friendship with her instead of just fangirling all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So she is a really dope person.
Cool.
In real life.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. We're going to keep going.
Okay.
It's number 2. Is it easy to reflect the times that we are living in with your art? And i.e., maybe not necessarily coronavirus, but we all know that Black Lives Matter is a very prevalent social issue right now.
Yes. It's not easy, and I wouldn't say that it's easy. It's accessible, and I'm sticking with that thought process simply because it's traumatic to relive these things because it's our lived experiences, and always having to visit those things is very taxing emotionally and mentally. So I wouldn't say it's easy. I would say it's accessible, and it's a topic that we can easily convey, but it's not easy to convey, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think, that's the whole purpose of artists, for us to not only reflect the times, but inspire the times. And the change that we want to see, we have to be that voice of reason, no matter how difficult it is. So I don't think that it's an easy task to undertake. And that's why, you see throughout history, art is the first weapon used to dismantle the people. Artists are our access to change. So
Well, we'll keep going.
Okay.
We'll keep it going. Who are your inspirations? And that is examples: rappers, singers, and other spoken word artists.
So I have a list in my head of wonderful poets that I love and adore. Gemini would be one. Paulina, Debbie Young, Lillian Allen.
Are these all Canadian?
They're
so
all
far,
Canadian. Yeah.
Very nice.
But then I also love a lot of American poets. So there's Mahogany Brown, Crystal Valentine. Just really wonderful people.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna keep it going. Do you face any challenges in your line of work?
Challenges in what way?
I know gender is always a big one for women, and I guess in terms of moving forward, putting yourself out there business-wise, this is mostly focused on entrepreneurship. Do you find it difficult to get your foot in the door, get yourself on stage?
Yeah, I mean, most of the difficulty, my career has really taken off since competing as a slam poet, which is a different field from just regular amazing spoken word. When you're doing it competitively, it's a different atmosphere, and I find, particularly in Canada, and this has been an issue, and it's now starting to come to the surface with all the addressing of anti-Black racism, but particularly in Canada, there's been this shift over the last 10 years, I would say, of just no longer honoring the tradition and the roots of the spoken word and where those oral traditions have come from Black and Indigenous populations and people and lineages. And a lot of whiteness has taken over those spaces, and then in that process have made those spaces very anti-Black and anti-Indigenous, so it's little microaggressions like that as a person of color, as a Black woman, I have to know how to navigate those fields. And it's not like that everywhere. Going to competing in Chicago and being around the American scene, it's a totally different atmosphere. The love and support that you receive there is nothing compared to the Canadian scene. And I think now they're trying to claw back and reevaluate how they welcome in community and how they build community here locally. And it's just different now. People are realizing that the same systems aren't working.
All right, that's it. We've got one more question.
All right.
And then we'll wrap things up. Okay. Number 5, what advice do you have? This is my favorite question. What advice do you have for others who wish to do what you are doing?
Practice. Okay. Practice, and trust yourself. I still struggle with imposter syndrome. No matter how amazing someone might tell me I am, I still won't believe it. And to unlearn those disbeliefs is taking a lot of work. So start early. Don't wait until you're at the point where, okay, you should know this by now. And just practicing your skills, learning from the peers that you have around you, and surround yourself with people who are different from you to give you access to different experiences in meaningful ways. I think that was one of the things I wish I knew early on in life, like in university and things like that, to just make friends with people who you wouldn't normally make friends with and build real relationships with them, professionally and emotionally. And I think those two worlds need to blend a lot more. Who you would go to for business advice should also be someone who you could call if you are just having a plain out bad day. And things would be a lot easier for people if we did that, So yeah, make great connections and enjoy the moment, but for sure, practice your skill set, know what you're good at, and have the discipline to train yourself and really hone in on your own skill set and stay in your lane. Don't try to be something you're not and be more than you should be. Just find where you fit and fit there as best as you can.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really good. I took from that practice and diversify. I really like that. Diversify your network.
Yeah.
Get out there. Get to know people.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amoya Reé. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in, and we will see you back for another episode of TDot Hunnies. Yeah.
Every time an innocent black child dies, no matter how old they are, the people say it was the Lord's will, but they forget that I am God. Forget that the spirit of the deceased always return home. Forget that as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. My people, observe the death of loved ones for 9 nights. There is a feast and music and rum, and we dance and we slap to domino, and this is a different kind of mourning. This is a let me scrape the sand off your island tongue kind of mourning. This is a let me take sadness by the hand while death takes us all by the throat kind of mourning. We were not born in silence. Why should our deaths be any different? Sometimes white women look solemnly from my son's skin to mine as if they've seen a ghost, and they have. Every time a child is born, an ancestor returns wide-eyed and hungry, so we feast and we dance, and there's music and rum, and we slap to domino. And isn't my baby shower just a funerary tradition? Are 9 months and 9 nights not synonymous? If purgatory is where the souls of those who die in a state of grace are made ready for heaven, then what else is a black woman's womb? To give birth to black bodies is to be graveyard and heaven and limbo all at once. I have carried 2 black boys, which is to say that white Jesus wept twice, which is to say that when they entered this world red-skinned and screaming, the devil was already afraid. Now watch me take all this black girl magic, be fruitful and multiply this melanin everywhere. Watch me give birth to men strong enough to break every chain. Watch me conceive a cataclysm and start this all over again. But as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end.